Hey everyone, it's Hannah Clubley, student radio presenter and head of music for Bournemouth University's Nerve Radio. Today I'm joined by Tom A. Smith to talk all about his music and him as an upcoming artist. So thanks so much for joining me today, Tom. How are you doing?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for having us.
No worries, no worries. So let's jump straight into it. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and how you got into music?
So I've been getting music lessons since I was 4 years old. So it's literally all I've done, really. I got lessons from a lad who was in a band. Well, he's now in a band called Catfish the Bottom. Well, I suppose he was in a band called Catfish the Bottom because they're not really doing much now. But he was called Bondi, and he used to come around every single week and give me guitar lessons. There was a couple of others as well, and we used to just like play FIFA, play football, and then do like a 10-minute guitar lesson. They'd all drink me dad's drink, and then it sort of just became more and more. It became an hour, and then 2 hours every single week, and I just started loving it. And then I started getting guitar lessons off a local legend who's in a band called Future Heads, called Barry Hyde. And he gave us singing lessons with my younger sister and older brother. And I had my first show when I was 8 years old. And it's all I've done, really. So I love it.
Amazing. You have been doing it since quite a young age then, because 4 years old.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's, my dad has always been obsessed with music. He's not a musician himself. He wouldn't have a clue. But he's always playing music in the house, and it was just something I'd always been around, I suppose. Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice. So this month, I believe, is officially 1 year since you released your debut single, which is crazy. Do you want to kind of, looking back, how was it for you releasing that first song and getting your music out into the world for the first time?
It was strange, because it'd been two and a half years of me just writing every single day. So for me, none of these songs were new, and it didn't feel like a new song that I was putting out for me, because I'd had it already before for like 2 years. I mean, I wrote an album in like a week and a half in May of 2020, and the first track on the album was Wolves. It was called Throw Me to the Wolves at the time. So for me, that it was never like a new song to put out, but to have a new name, because I played under a different name before then, and just to be able to completely start fresh, and now be doing a sound that I'm really happy with, and a sound that I feel is a bit more resembles what I want to do. It was dead exciting, and the last year has just been pretty insane since then. What's
the reception been like in the past year, just generally, when kind of you were breaking through and stuff?
It's been fantastic. I think 3 or 4 days after I released my first song, Jack Saunders was giving it its first play on Radio 1, which was fantastic, and it's been backed. I've been backed by so many fantastic people who have already had established successful careers. To have people like Elton John and Miles Kane really be excited and pushing what you're doing is it's really exciting. And of course, like, I've put 2 EPs out since then, and every single tune that I seem to put out seems to be getting received really well, which is really nice. And I do feel that every song that I'm putting out is getting stronger than the last. So I'm dead excited to where it goes, I suppose. Yeah,
that is super exciting. What would you say has been your standout moment from the past year?
I mean, there's been quite a few. Yeah, I mean, going to Europe for the first time was amazing, especially for the band as well. That was brilliant. Of course, playing Hyde Park and Glastonbury was amazing. But do you know what it is for me? Last week, going on Soccer AM, and being joined by Miles Kane, I think that was for me the number one moment so far, because it was just a great experience, and something that I've always watched, and it was just dead cool to be part of.
Yeah, I can imagine that was really, really cool. I bet it was interesting to see the behind the scenes of all how that worked and everything as well.
Yeah, I know it's a lot more chaotic than it looks. But I was quite surprised and quite pleased that Jimmy Bullard and all of the crew were just as mental in person as they are on the show. So that was nice.
That's cool. So kind of moving on a little bit, who would you say are your biggest musical inspirations?
I always find this question tough because, you know, there's so much, because I don't really want to try and sound like anyone or have a sound that is, you know, you can compare to anything really.
Yeah.
But I suppose, you know, especially with Wolves, that which came out nearly a year ago, I suppose there's quite a big Cure influence in there. They're definitely up there. Obviously at the minute, Miles Kane, you know, with everything he's doing for me and getting to write with him, that's a great, getting to see his genius unfold is amazing, and being able to write around that's fantastic too. I love, you know, the lyrics of the Smiths. I think that's amazing. They're amazing, and I try and do a little bit of that when I'm writing my lyrics. But I wouldn't say there's a standout influence. It's more just like, you know, people who have, you know, been part of what I've done so far, really, and getting to see how they do it and their professionalism and how they go about, you know, doing what I want to do. So yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. So obviously you mentioned you've released 2 EPs so far. If you could pick one of your songs, which one would be your favorite one that you'd released so far?
Oh, Christ, that's do you know what it is? I'm gonna say Like You Do. I think that's my favorite so far, because I just think the whole experience of recording that was amazing. But in terms of, you know, the 2 EPs that I put out, I think Never Good Enough on the second EP for me is a song that I really, really love. You know, when I showed it to my managers, they were absolutely buzzing with it and loved it. And it was never going to be a single at first. It was just going to be a track on the EP. So then when we took it to the studio, and for me, I always felt it was a single, but I decided I wanted to go with Man Overboard instead, because I thought it was just a bit more of a poppier tune, and it suited a single better maybe. But then when I got to the studio, and my producer Larry agreed as well, it was just such a euphoric tune, and we thought, you know, we're going to put that out as the main track instead.
Yeah, I think you made the right decision. It's very catchy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I like it a lot.
The hook at the start, yeah.
So, as you mentioned, you've had recognitions from some pretty big names, like you've worked with people from Catfish. I've seen Sam Fender as well, and been mentioned by like Elton John, which is absolutely crazy. How does it feel to know that people like that are picking up your music and hearing the stuff that you're working on?
Yeah, I mean, it's surreal, you know, because like these people are people who have been doing it for many, many years, and they don't have to be that supportive, and they don't have to do any of that. You know, Elton John doesn't have to, you know, ask me to join him at Hyde Park. Like, it's Elton John. I think people would understand if he just wanted to keep himself to himself.
Yeah.
But he is just such a champion of new music, and like when I met him at in London, he knew everything about us, all the tunes I'd put out so far. He knew the gigs I had coming up, what I'd just done, you know, which is just so surprising and amazing to hear. But, you know, people like Miles Kane, who is literally taking time out their days to, you know, spend studio time with us and come and perform on TV with us, you know, that it's just like, it is all very surreal, and it's so amazing for not just myself, but also my band as well, who haven't been in bands before this, that I've, you know, started to do quite well, and just for us all to be able to experience it together, and it just to get better and better every single month. I mean, every couple of months is something just insane happening. But it's pretty surreal and kind of cool.
Yeah, I can imagine, like Hyde Park with Elton John. So young as well. Like, imagine ticking that off your bucket list at like so young. Crazy. So now going back into how you got into music, playing your gig at just 8 years old, that also must have been pretty incredible. Tell us a bit about that.
I remember at the time absolutely hating every single second of it. I thought it was petrifying, because I was opening for a band who called Detroit Social Club, who used to be quite a big deal. I think they toured with the Oasis and stuff like that, like 3 or 4 years, but they broke up 3 or 4 years before the gig. But they did like a reunion show at quite an iconic venue in Newcastle called the Clubley. And it's like a 500 cap room, and it was completely sold out and completely rammed through. So I'm 8-year-old playing covers of Bon Iver in front of 500 people. But yeah, I just remember absolutely petrified, hating every single second of it. I think the guitar teacher, you can see him crouching underneath the keyboard on stage, just keeping us calm the whole set. But the second I got off, I just sort of knew that this is what I want to do. And you know, the adrenaline and, you know, the reaction from people, it was just like, from then it was just, yeah, this is what I love.
Yeah. Oh, it's so nice that you established that kind of so young as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's completely been my everything I do and my pure focus since then. You know, I just absolutely love it. You know, writing's amazing and doing all that, but performing live and getting to see people's reactions in person and all that is, you know, it's the reason I do it, I think. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the future. So you're going on tour in December, I believe.
Yes, yeah.
Looking forward to that. What can we expect from that? Tell us a little bit.
So yeah, my debut headline tour, it's you know, selling super well. I'm absolutely buzzing. I think, well, the Newcastle date sold out within a week, which is, you know, the local show, which is, you know, fantastic, and everything else is selling really, really well. I think we're close to selling out York. London's doing fantastic, as well as Liverpool, and we've got some fantastic supports on there as well. Cuss Band are doing a few shows with us. They're fantastic. You know, Megan Wynn, I'm looking forward to seeing her play live with her band. You know, I've not seen that yet. Ruby J and a few others as well. And it's just going to be such a fun time. And it's going to be my longest sets yet. I'm used to doing my half an hour support slot. So doing an hour 15 is going to be amazing. So yeah, really looking forward to it. I've got plenty of tunes I want to play, a lot of new ones, you know, all the singles as well, some EP tracks. But it's maybe a couple of covers as well. But yeah, it's going to be great.
Super exciting. In terms of kind of end goal, what is the number one thing you want to achieve, or kind of maybe venue you want to play at, sort of thing?
Oh, do you know what it is? It always used to be Brixton Academy, but then I got asked to go on tour with a Gang of Youths the day before it happened, the day before they went on tour, and Brixton Academy was one of the venues, and it was amazing to play there. But it's got to be the Pyramid Stage, hasn't it? It's got to be, yeah. You know, I've been to Glastonbury a few times now. You know, I played it again this year with Billy Bragg at his Left Field stage. You know, just seeing Pyramid and how massive it is. I think it's the most iconic stage in music, to be honest. So probably that, yeah, that's the goal. Nice. Maybe headliner, who knows?
Who knows, maybe one day. So unfortunately, that's all we've got time for today, but thank you so much for all your time and for joining me. If you've enjoyed this interview with Tom, please go and check out more of his stuff. And yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Lovely stuff. Perfect. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.